Maya wiped the grease from her hands with an old rag. The hydraulic pump she had been fixing for 3 hours finally hummed to life. Around her, the maintenance bay filled with the steady sound of working machinery. She smiled a little. It was a simple pleasure, fixing things instead of breaking them. Titan Station floated in the dark space between stars. It was a mining outpost, far from the busy inner worlds where most humans lived. The station had 2,000 people who worked the asteroid mines nearby. They dug up rare metals and sent them back to Earth and the colonies. It was hard work, but honest work. Maya had been here for 8 years. The other workers knew her as a good technician who kept to herself. She always volunteered for extra shifts. When others went to the recreation deck to drink and talk, Maya stayed in the workshop. She liked it that way. Her coveralls were always dirty with oil and metal dust. Her hair was gray now and cut short for safety around the machines. Her hands were rough from years of handling tools and repair parts. Nobody looked twice at her. She was just another worker trying to make a living on the edge of human space. The morning shift change brought new workers into the bay. Tom, a young man who had arrived 6 months ago, waved at her. "Morning, Maya. Got that pump working again?" "Yeah. It should run fine now," she replied. "Just needed new seals." Tom nodded and went to his workstation. Maya gathered her tools and headed for the next job on her list. The air recycling system in Section C needed attention. It was boring work. But Maya found peace in the routine. She had lunch alone in the small cafeteria near the maintenance levels. The food was simple protein bars and recycled water, but it filled her stomach. Around her, other workers talked about their families back home or complained about the long shifts. Maya listened but rarely spoke. After lunch, she walked through the station corridors. Titan Station was not beautiful. The walls were gray metal with pipes and cables running everywhere. The lighting was harsh and practical. But it felt safe to Maya. Here she was nobody special. Just another person trying to get by. In the afternoon, Maya worked on the gravity generators. These machines kept everyone's feet on the floor. Without them, everything would float around like in the old space movies. The work required careful attention. One wrong move could shut down gravity for the whole section. As she worked, Maya heard 2 workers talking nearby. "Did you hear? Transport. Ship coming in tomorrow with some big shots from the inner worlds." "What kind of big shots?" "Government people. Maybe military." Station boss seemed nervous about it. Maya's hands stopped moving for a moment. She had not heard about any inspection. Visitors from the inner worlds were rare this far out. She forced herself to keep working, but her mind was racing. That evening, Maya sat in her small quarters. The room was barely large enough for a bed. A small desk and a storage unit. Everything she owned fit in 2 bags. She liked living simply. It made it easier to leave quickly if needed, but hidden under a loose floor panel was something from her old life. Maya pulled up the metal plate and reached inside. Her fingers found the familiar shape of a flight helmet. It was black with scratches and dents from years of use. The neural interface cables were still attached. She held the helmet in her hands and remembered the feel of a fighter ship responding to her thoughts, the rush of combat, the weight of command, the faces of pilots who had followed her into battle. Some of them never came home. Maya put the helmet back in its hiding place. That life was over. She had made sure of that 8 years ago when the tribunal wanted someone to blame for what happened at Proxima. She gave them what they wanted by disappearing. Let them think she was dead. It was easier that way. The next morning brought bad news. Director Beck, the station administrator, called all workers to the main assembly hall. He was a thin man who always looked worried. Today he looked terrified. "People, we have important visitors coming today," Beck announced. "Galactic Defense Force inspectors will check our security and operations. I want everyone to cooperate." fully. Answer their questions honestly and stay out of their way. Maya felt her stomach drop. GDF meant military. Real military people who might know faces from the war. She needed to be very careful. The transport ship arrived at noon. Maya watched from a maintenance tunnel as uniformed officers walked through. The docking bay. They moved like soldiers, alert and ready. Their uniforms were clean and new, not like the worn clothes of the station workers. One of the officers was young, maybe 25 years old. He had the confident walk of a pilot. Maya had seen that walk before in the mirror, back when she wore a uniform too. The young officer looked around the station with sharp eyes, taking in every detail. Maya spent the rest of the day avoiding the inspectors. When they came to check the maintenance areas, she found work in other sections. When they visited the workshops, she went to the storage levels. It was like a careful dance, staying just out of sight, but she could not hide forever. Late in the afternoon, Maya was working alone in the computer core room. The servers here controlled the station's basic systems. It was quiet work, checking connections and replacing worn parts. She thought she was safe here. Few people ever came to the core room. The door opened behind her. Maya looked up to see the young pilot officer standing in the doorway. He held a data pad in his hand and was looking at her with a strange expression. "Excuse me," he said. "Are you Maya-chan, maintenance technician?" "Yes," Maya replied carefully. "Is there a problem?" The officer stepped closer. His eyes never left her face. "I'm Lieutenant Torres. I need to verify some information in our records." He held up his data pad. On the screen was Maya's station ID photo, but next to it was another picture that made her blood run cold. It was an old military photo of a woman in a fighter pilot's uniform. The face was younger, the hair longer, but it was unmistakably her. "Interesting," Torres said quietly. "The computer says this is impossible. According to our records, this person died 8 years ago at Proxima." Maya's hand moved slowly toward the tool belt at her waist. Torres noticed and shook his head. "I'm not here to arrest anyone," he said. "But we need to talk. Tonight, after the inspection is over." The lieutenant turned and walked away, leaving Maya alone with her racing heart. Her quiet life had just come to an end. Outside the station, in the cold darkness of space, something else was coming, but Maya did not know that yet. All she knew was that her carefully built disguise was cracking, and the woman she used to be was about to break through. Maya could not focus on her work for the rest of the day. Her hands shook as she tried to repair a broken air filter. Every time someone walked past, she jumped. The young lieutenant knew who she was. After 8 years of hiding, her past had found her. She tried to think of ways to escape. Maybe she could steal a transport pod and run. But where would she go? The next human outpost was weeks away, and running would only prove she was guilty of something. As evening came, the GDF inspection team finished their work. Maya watched from her quarters as they prepared to leave the next morning. But Lieutenant Torres did not go to the guest rooms with the others. Instead, he walked toward the maintenance levels. Maya heard footsteps in the corridor outside her. Door. 3 soft knocks. She waited, hoping he would go away. 3 more knocks. "I know you're in there," Torres said quietly. "We need to talk." Maya opened the door. The lieutenant looked nervous, like he was meeting someone famous. He glanced around the corridor to make sure they were alone. "Can I come in?" Maya stepped aside. Torres entered her small quarters and looked around. The room was very simple. Just basic furniture and a few personal items. Nothing that showed who she really was. "You're really her, aren't you?" Torres said. "Commander Lisa Kane, the ghost of the Outer Ring." Maya said nothing. She sat on her bed and waited. Torres pulled out his datapad again. "I ran facial recognition 3 times. Each time, it came back positive. You're supposed to be dead. Killed in action at Proxima 8 years ago. Maybe I am dead, Maya said. Maybe you're talking to a ghost. This isn't a joke, Torres said. Do you know who you are? What you did during the war? Maya looked at him for a long moment. This young man was maybe 10 years old when she was fighting aliens. He'd probably learned about the war from books and computer files. I know exactly who I was, she said. And I know why I had to disappear. Torres sat down in the only chair. Tell me. Maya was quiet for a minute. She had not talked about this with anyone for 8 years. It felt strange to say the words out loud. The war was ending, she began. We had pushed the hegemony back from most human worlds. But they still held Proxima Colony. 2 million civilians were trapped there. Torres nodded. I studied this battle at the Academy. The Proxima Siege. You led the attack that broke the alien blockade. That's the official story, Maya said. But it's not the whole truth. She stood up and walked to the small window. Outside, she could see the mining ships working in the asteroid field. Their lights looked like tiny stars. The aliens had built weapons platforms around the colony, Maya continued. Huge things that could destroy any ship that got close. Command wanted to wait for more ships, more troops. But that would take months. The civilians didn't have months. So you attacked anyway, Torres said. I took 12 fighters and went in alone. We used the asteroid field for cover. Hit and run attacks. We destroyed 8 platforms in the first hour. Torres leaned forward. The records say you saved the colony. You're a hero. Maya turned back to face him. Heroes don't do what I did to win that battle. She told him about the 9th platform. How it was hidden inside a civilian transport ship. The aliens were using human prisoners as shields. She had to choose between saving the colony and saving 200 innocent people. I destroyed the transport, Maya said quietly. 200 civilians died because of my decision. But it saved 2 million others. Torres was quiet. This part was not in the Academy books. Command needed someone to blame, Maya continued. The families of those civilians wanted justice. So they started a tribunal to investigate war crimes. I knew what would happen. They would make me the villain to protect everyone else. So you disappeared. I staged my death during a training flight. Made it look like an accident. Let them bury an empty coffin. It was easier than facing trial for doing what had to be done. Torres stared at his datapad. You've been hiding here for 8 years, working as a maintenance tech. Why? Because I'm tired of making life and death decisions, Maya said. Here, the worst thing that happens is a broken pump. Nobody dies. If I make a mistake. Suddenly, the station's emergency alarm started blaring. Red lights flashed in the corridor outside. Both Maya and Torres jumped up. All personnel to emergency stations, came Director Beck's voice over the intercom. This is not a drill. Unknown ships approaching. Torres grabbed his communicator. Torres to Peregrine. What's happening? Sir, we're picking up multiple contacts. On long-range sensors, came the reply. 12 ships, unknown design, approaching fast. Maya and Torres ran to the nearest observation deck. Other station workers were gathering there, pointing at the windows. In the distance, they could see lights moving against the stars. The ships were still far away, but getting closer. Torres was talking rapidly into his communicator, getting updates from his ship. Maya watched the approaching vessels through the reinforced glass. Something about their formation looked familiar. Dangerous. Hegemony ships, she said quietly. Torres stopped talking and looked at her. What did you say? Those are hegemony warships. Diamond formation, 3 groups of 4. They're following standard battle doctrine. How can you tell from this distance? Maya had fought these ships for 3 years during the war. She knew their engine signatures. their formation patterns, their tactics. Even after 8 years, she recognized them instantly. Director Beck's voice came over the intercom again. He sounded terrified. "We're receiving a transmission from the unknown ships. They're demanding our surrender." Torres was already moving toward the communication center. Maya followed him. When they arrived, Beck was staring at the main screen with horror. The alien face looking back at them was ugly and scarred. It had too many teeth and eyes like black glass. "I am War Leader Vos of the Hegemony Third Fleet," the alien said. "This facility will be claimed for our use. All humans will surrender immediately or be destroyed." Beck tried to negotiate. "We're just miners. We have no military value. Please. We have families here." "Your species exists only to serve our needs," Vos replied. "You have 1 hour to prepare for boarding. Resistance will result in immediate death." The transmission ended. The communication center was silent except for the sound of people breathing hard. Torres checked his ship's status. "My ship has basic weapons, but nothing that can fight 12 hegemony warships. The nearest GDF fleet is 6 days away." Director Beck was shaking. "We have to surrender. We can't fight them." Maya stared at the tactical display showing the alien ships. After 8 years of hiding from her past, the war had come to find her. The quiet life she had built was about to end in fire and death, unless she did something about it. Maya watched the tactical display with cold eyes. The hegemony ships were moving into attack position. She knew this pattern. They would destroy the station's defenses first, then board with soldiers. Any humans who fought back would be killed. The rest would be taken as slaves. Director Beck was on the communication system, trying to contact anyone who could help. But the nearest human fleet was too far away. The commercial ships in the area were small cargo vessels with no weapons. Titan Station was alone. "We have to surrender," Beck said again. "It's our only choice." Torres checked his ship's weapons. "My patrol craft has missiles and laser cannons. But 12 hegemony warships? That's suicide." Maya said nothing. She was thinking about the alien formation. War Leader Vos was using the same tactics the hegemony had used during the war. Ships, arranged in 3 diamond groups. It was effective against most enemies. But Maya had broken this formation before. The station's defense turrets opened fire as the aliens came into range. Red laser beams reached out across space, but the hegemony ships were too fast and too well armored. Returned fire from the aliens. Destroyed the turrets in seconds. Titan Station was now defenseless. "Attention humans," came Voss's voice over the communication system. "Your weapons are destroyed. Prepare for boarding. Any resistance will be met with death." In the corridors around the station, families were running to emergency shelters. Children were crying. Parents held them close, not knowing what would happen next. Maya watched through the security cameras as people tried to hide in storage rooms and maintenance areas. Torres grabbed her arm. "You have to help us. You're the only military person here with real combat experience." "I'm a maintenance worker," Maya replied. "I fix machines. I don't fight wars anymore." "People are going to die." Maya pulled away from him. "People die in wars. That's what wars are for." She left the communication center and walked back toward her quarters. Behind her, she could hear Torres arguing with Beck about evacuation procedures. They were wasting time. The hegemony ships would be docking within minutes. In her quarters, Maya sat on her bed and tried not to think about what was happening. She had left that life behind. She was not a commander anymore. She was just Maya, the maintenance tech who fixed pumps and air filters. But the sounds from the corridors kept getting louder. Families running. Security guards trying to organize defenses with nothing but hand weapons. Director Beck's voice over the intercom, getting more desperate with each announcement. Maya pulled up the loose floor panel and took out her old flight helmet. She held it in her hands and stared at the neural interface ports. These cables had once connected her mind directly to a fighter ship's systems. She could think, and the ship would respond. Turn left, fire weapons, execute impossible. Maneuvers. The helmet made pilot and ship into one deadly weapon. She put the helmet on the desk and walked to her small mirror. The face looking back was older now. Gray hair, lines around the eyes, hands rough from manual labor. But underneath, she was still Lisa Kane, the ghost of the Outer Ring, the pilot who had never lost a battle. Through her door's window, Maya saw a family with 2 small children running down the corridor. The father was carrying the younger child while the mother held the older one's hand. They looked terrified. Maya thought about the 200 civilians who died in the transport. At Proxima, she had killed them to save 2 million others. The tribunal called it a war crime. But those children in the corridor would die today. If someone did not act. She picked up the helmet and walked to the docking bay. Torres was at his ship, the Peregrine, running emergency checks on the weapon systems. The patrol craft was small compared to the hegemony warships, but it was fast and well armed for its size. Torres looked up as Maya approached. "Change your mind?" he asked. "Maybe," Maya said. "Tell me about your ship's capabilities." Torres pulled up the technical specifications on his datapad. Standard patrol configuration: plasma cannons, missile launchers, enhanced sensors. Top speed about 60% of a fighter's maximum. Maya studied the numbers. It was not much against 12 hegemony warships, but she had worked with less during the war. The key was not to fight them head-on. That was suicide. The key was to make them afraid. "Can you operate the weapon systems while I pilot?" Maya asked. "You want to fly my ship? I want to save this station." "That means someone needs to fly who knows how to fight hegemony ships." Torres hesitated. "If we do this, we'll probably die." "Probably," Maya agreed. "But if we don't do this, everyone on the station will definitely die." They boarded the Peregrine together. Maya settled into the pilot's seat and put on her old helmet. The neural interfaces connected with a soft click. Suddenly, the ship's systems flowed into her mind like water. She could feel the engines, the weapons, the sensors. After 8 years, it felt like coming home. "Systems online," Torres reported from the co-pilot station. "Weapons armed and ready." Maya's fingers moved over the controls with practiced ease. The Peregrine undocked from Titan Station and moved out into open space. On the sensors, she could see the 12 hegemony ships approaching the station. They were arranged in their standard diamond formation, confident and unstoppable. "This is insane," Torres muttered. 1 ship against 12. Maya smiled for the first time in 8 years. It was not a nice smile. "They don't know who they're fighting yet. Let me show them why humans won the war." She engaged the engines and the Peregrine shot forward like a bullet. The acceleration pushed them back into their seats. Maya aimed straight for the center of the alien formation, flying faster than any sane pilot would attempt. "What are you doing?" Torres shouted. "Something they won't expect," Maya replied. The hegemony ship saw the small human vessel approaching and began turning their weapons toward it. But Maya was moving too fast and too unpredictably. She flew between the massive alien ships like a dart between giants. Too quick for their targeting computers to lock on. At the last second, Maya fired every missile the Peregrine carried. The weapons struck 2 hegemony ships at point-blank range, penetrating their shields and exploding inside their hulls. Both ships erupted in brilliant fireballs that lit up the darkness of space. "Direct hits," Torres yelled. 2 ships destroyed. The remaining 10 alien vessels were now angry and confused. Their neat formation broke apart as each ship tried to find and destroy the small human fighter. But Maya had already vanished into the asteroid field that surrounded Titan Station. War Leader Voss appeared on the communication screen, his ugly face twisted with rage. Who dares attack the hegemony fleet? Show yourself, human coward. Maya opened a channel and spoke in the calm voice she had used during the war. This is Commander Lisa Kane. You have entered human space without permission. Leave now or be destroyed. On the alien bridge, Voss stared at the communication screen in shock. Every hegemony commander knew that name. The ghost of the Outer Ring was supposed to be dead. War leader Voss could not believe what he was seeing. The ghost of the Outer Ring was supposed to be dead. Hegemony intelligence had confirmed her death 8 years ago. Yet here she was, speaking to him from a small human patrol ship that had just destroyed 2 of his warships. Impossible, Voss growled. You died at Proxima. Reports of my death were greatly exaggerated, Maya replied through the communication system. Now leave human space or join your burning ships. The alien commander's face twisted with rage. During the war, Lisa Kane had become a legend among both humans and aliens. She was the pilot who appeared from nowhere, struck like lightning, and vanished before anyone could react. Hegemony commanders feared her more than entire human fleets. All ships, hunt down that human vessel, Voss ordered. I want the ghost commander brought to me alive. The 10 remaining hegemony warships spread out and began searching the asteroid field. Their massive hulls moved slowly between the floating rocks, sensors scanning for any sign of the small human ship. The aliens were confident. One small patrol craft could not hide forever, but Maya knew these asteroids better than anyone. For 8 years, she had watched the mining ships navigate through this field. She knew every rock, every hiding place, every safe passage. The Peregrine moved through the darkness like a ghost, invisible to alien sensors. How are we doing this? Torres whispered. They should be able to detect us. Asteroids have lots of metal, Maya explained quietly. It confuses their sensors. And these ships are too big to follow us into the narrow spaces. She guided the Peregrine through a gap between 2 massive rocks. The space was barely wide enough for the small patrol ship. A hegemony warship tried to follow but had to back away when its hull scraped against the asteroid walls. Maya waited in the shadow of a large rock until one of the alien ships passed nearby. The warship was searching methodically, moving slowly to scan each asteroid. Its captain probably thought he was being careful. He was wrong. The Peregrine shot out from behind the asteroid like a hunting cat. Maya fired everything at the warship's engine section. The concentrated fire punched through the alien shields and tore into the ship's power systems. Explosions rippled along the hull as the warship lost power and began to drift. 3 down, Torres said, watching the crippled ship on his sensors. 9 to go, Maya replied, already moving to the next hiding spot. War leader Voss was getting frustrated. His ships were built for open space combat, not hide and seek in an asteroid field. The human was using the environment against him, turning his numerical advantage into a weakness. Sir, we should pull back to open space, his tactical officer suggested. Force the human to come to us. No, Voss snarled. The ghost commander thinks she can mock the hegemony. I will show her that legends can die. He ordered his ships to work in pairs, covering each other as they searched. It was a good plan, but Maya had faced coordinated alien tactics before. She waited patiently as 2 warships moved together through the asteroids, scanning methodically. Aliens made their mistake when they split up to search both sides of a large asteroid. For just a moment, neither ship could see the other. Maya struck like lightning, targeting the rear ship's weapon systems. Her precision fire disabled the alien guns before the crew knew they were under attack. The second warship turned to help its partner, but Maya was already gone. She had vanished back into the asteroid field, leaving the aliens with another crippled vessel. 4 ships down, Torres reported. But we're running low on missiles. Maya checked their ammunition status. Half their missiles were gone, and the energy weapons were draining power from the ship's systems. They could not keep this up much longer. "Time to change tactics," she said. Instead of hiding, Maya flew the Peregrine out into open space where all the remaining alien ships could see her. It looked like suicide. 8 hegemony warships immediately turned toward the small human vessel, weapons charging. "What are you doing?" Torres shouted. "Something stupid," Maya replied. "Hold on." She flew straight toward the alien formation at maximum speed. Weapons fire filled the space around them as the hegemony ships opened fire. Maya threw the Peregrine into a series of impossible turns, dodging energy beams and missile explosions. The aliens thought they had her trapped. 8 ships firing at one small target. There was nowhere to run. But Maya was not trying to escape. She was counting on the aliens being overconfident. At the last second, she dove toward the largest asteroid in the field. The alien ships followed, still firing, still confident they would destroy her. Maya skimmed along the asteroid's surface, so close that the ship's hull almost touched the rocky ground. Behind her, the 8 hegemony warships were bunched together, all focused on their target. They did not notice the asteroid's composition until it was too late. The rock was mostly iron ore with traces of unstable compounds. When the aliens' weapons fire missed Maya and hit the asteroid instead, the result was spectacular. The entire asteroid exploded in a chain reaction that lit up space like a small sun. The 8 alien ships, caught in the blast, were thrown around like toys. 3 ships were destroyed outright. 2 more were severely damaged and began drifting helplessly. Maya pulled the Peregrine out of the explosion just as debris began raining down. Behind her, only 3 hegemony warships remained functional. One of them was Vos's flagship. "Impossible," the alien commander whispered, staring at the destruction. How did she know the asteroid would explode? His tactical officer checked. "They're sensors." "Sir, she must have studied the composition readings. The mining data would show which asteroids are unstable." Vos realized he was facing someone who knew this battlefield better than he did. The Ghost Commander had not just survived 8 years in exile. She had been learning, preparing, studying every advantage she could find. "All remaining ships, retreat to minimum safe distance," Vos ordered. "We end this now." The 3 surviving warships pulled back from the asteroid field and formed up in open space. They were damaged but still dangerous. Maya knew she could not use the same tricks again. This final battle would be ship against ship, pilot against pilot. Torres checked their remaining weapons. 2 missiles left. Laser cannons at 60% power were in bad shape. Maya looked at the 3 alien ships waiting for her. War Leader Vos's flagship was the largest, a massive dreadnought that could destroy the Peregrine with a single shot. The other 2 ships were smaller but still dangerous. "They're expecting me to run," Maya said, "to try more tricks." "Aren't we going to run?" Maya smiled that cold smile again. "No, we're going to attack." She turned the Peregrine toward the alien formation and pushed the engines to maximum power. The small ship shot forward like a missile, heading straight for War Leader Vos's flagship. Maya flew the Peregrine straight toward War Leader Vos's flagship. The massive alien dreadnought was 3 times larger than any ship she had fought during the war. Its hull bristled with weapons that could tear apart a dozen patrol ships. But Maya had learned something important over 8 years of hiding. Sometimes the biggest enemy was also the clumsiest. "This is insane," Torres said, watching the dreadnought grow larger on their screen. "That ship will vaporize us." "Only if it can hit us," Maya replied. The alien flagship opened fire with everything it had. Energy beams and missiles filled the space between the ships. But Maya was flying like she had during the war, making the Peregrine dance through the weapon fire like it was alive. The ship twisted and turned in ways that should have been impossible. War Leader Vos watched from his bridge as the small human vessel avoided every shot. How is she doing this? He demanded. Sir, she's using maximum acceleration in multiple directions, his weapons officer reported. The Gi forces should kill any human pilot. But Maya had neural interfaces that connected her mind directly to the ship's systems. She could think faster than human reflexes, react quicker than normal pilots. The Peregrine responded to her thoughts, not her hands. Ship and pilot moved as one deadly unit. The two smaller hegemony ships tried to help their flagship by attacking from different angles. Maya found herself caught between three enemies, all firing at once. For a moment, it looked like the end. Then Maya did something that made Torres scream in terror. She flew the Peregrine directly between two alien ships, using their own crossfire against them. The hegemony commanders, desperate to hit the elusive human ship, fired at the same time. Their weapons missed Maya but struck each other. One alien ship took a direct hit to its engine section and exploded in a ball of fire. The other ship was badly damaged and began to drift helplessly. In seconds, Maya had reduced 3 enemies to 1. War leader Voss stared at the tactical display in disbelief. 9 of his 12 ships were gone. The Ghost Commander had done the impossible again, turning his own weapons against him. Sir, we should retreat, his tactical officer suggested. Call for reinforcements. No, Voss snarled. I will not run. From one human, even if she is the Ghost Commander. This ends here. The alien dreadnought began moving toward the Peregrine, all weapons charging for a final strike. Maya could see the massive ship approaching on her sensors. This was the moment she had been avoiding for 8 years. A direct fight with no tricks, no hiding places, no clever tactics. Just pilot against pilot. We're out of missiles, Torres reported. Laser cannons at 30% power. If we're going to run, now would be good. Maya looked at Titan Station through the view screen. The people there were watching this battle, knowing their lives depended on the outcome. Families with children. Workers who just wanted to make a living. People like she had been for 8 years, trying to live quiet lives far from war. I'm not running anymore, Maya said. She turned the Peregrine toward the alien flagship and began the final attack run. The dreadnought was huge, covered in armor and shields. But Maya had studied hegemony ship designs during the war. Every ship had weak points if you knew where to look. The alien vessel fired everything at the approaching patrol ship. Space lit up with weapon fire as Maya flew through the storm of death. The Peregrine's shields flickered and failed under the punishment. Hull plates began to burn away under the intense energy beams. Shields down, Torres shouted over the noise of alarms. Hull breach on deck 2. We can't take much more of this. Maya ignored the damage reports. She was focused on one thing, the dreadnought's main reactor. Every hegemony ship had the same design flaw. The reactor cooling system ran along the ship's belly, protected by lighter armor. If she could hit it with precise shots, the entire ship would lose power. The Peregrine dove under the alien flagship, skimming along its massive hull. Maya fired her remaining laser cannons at the exact spot where the cooling lines converged. The shots punched through the lighter armor and struck the reactor systems. For a moment, nothing happened. Then red warning lights began flashing all over the alien bridge. Sir, reactor cooling failure, the engineering officer reported. We're losing power to all systems. War leader Voss could not believe it. His massive flagship, pride of the hegemony fleet, was being crippled by a tiny patrol ship. Emergency power to weapons. I want that human destroyed. But it was too late. The dreadnought's weapons went offline as the reactor began to overheat. The ship's engines died, leaving the massive vessel helpless and drifting. Maya pulled the damaged Peregrine away from the alien ship and opened a communication channel. This is Commander Lisa Kane, she said. Your ship is disabled. Surrender now and I will allow you to retreat. On the alien bridge, War Leader Vos faced a choice. He could trigger the ship's self-destruct and take the human with him. Or he could accept defeat from the legendary Ghost Commander. His tactical officer was already preparing the retreat signal. "Why?" Vos asked through the communication system. "Why reveal yourself after so many years? You could have stayed hidden." Maya thought about the question. She looked at Torres, who was working frantically to repair their damaged ship. She thought about the families on Titan Station who were probably watching this battle through the station sensors. "Because some things are worth fighting for," she said finally. "And because someone needed to remind you why humans won the war." War Leader Vos was quiet for a long moment. Then he gave the order his crew was waiting for. "All ships retreat to hyperspace. This battle is over." The remaining alien ships gathered around their disabled flagship. Emergency repair crews worked quickly to get the dreadnought's engines running again. Within an hour, the entire hegemony fleet had jumped to hyperspace and disappeared. Maya and Torres flew the badly damaged Peregrine back to Titan Station. The docking bay was filled with people cheering and celebrating. Director Beck was there, with tears in his eyes. Maintenance workers Maya had known for 8 years stared at her in amazement, but Maya did not feel like celebrating. She was tired, and the Peregrine needed extensive repairs. As she climbed out of the pilot's seat, she realized that her quiet life was truly over. Word would spread about what happened here. The Ghost Commander was alive and fighting again. Torres helped her remove the neural interface helmet. "What happens now?" he asked. Maya looked around the docking bay at all the people whose lives she had saved. Children who would grow up safe. Families who could stay together. Workers who could continue their simple lives among the stars. "Now I go back to work," she said. "These people still need someone to fix their pumps and air filters." Torres smiled. "And if more aliens come?" Maya put her old flight helmet under her arm and walked toward the maintenance levels. "Then I guess they'll learn the same lesson as War Leader Vos. You don't mess with humans, especially when they're protecting their home." Behind her, the celebration continued. But Maya had already returned to being who she needed to be. Sometimes a maintenance worker, sometimes a legendary pilot, whatever the people of Titan Station needed her to be.